Hey guys, we're going to be in John chapter 10, verses 1 and 2. John chapter 10, verses 1 and 2 says this. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. But he that entereth in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. I'm going to tell you something, for the longest time, I grew up in a time where there was no internet. I mean, in the early 90s, it was just beginning to be something. I mean, it was, in fact, it was probably 91 or 92, somewhere right in there, probably 92, before I even knew what the world that was. I mean, I didn't have any idea. I mean, I've heard a little bit about the internet and what it might be, but man, it was just so shocking. So I lived in a time before that. So to get into technology, and then later years, which was just baffling to me, was when TomTom came out. TomTom came out, and that was a little device you could put in your car that would show you around and show you the roads and give you maps and things to get places. There was MapQuest before that, where it would print out the instructions. I thought that was cool, and then TomTom came out, and now on my phone, I can just put navigation. There's screens in my car. There's I guess things like that. But for the longest time, when those things first came out, I would argue with it. I know a different way. But what it knew that I didn't know was that there was, some roadblocks, or there was some traffic. And even today, I'm like, man, I wonder if this is for real. But now I've just gotten to the point where if that thing says it's backed up traffic on here and it's red, I go a different way. Some people joke about my driving. They say, well, we know what the GPS says on your GPS. What are you talking about? Yeah, your GPS says next exit, let me out. I said, my goodness gracious. But let me tell you something, guys. There's only one way to Jesus. All right. And these verses are very clear in all of this. All right. Very, very, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way. If you try to get to heaven, if you try to get to God the Father any other way except through Jesus, all right, you're a thief and a robber. You're not going to do that. You're not going to somehow steal your way in, or sneak your way in, or come in by another path or by another God. You can't do it. All right. It says, but he that entereth in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. Listen, he is the one. Okay, we can enter in because of him. We can come into the door. We can be born again. We can come there. And look at this. To him the porter openeth, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calleth his own sheep by name and leadeth them out. And look, here's the thing. Now, there's certainly those who try to get in and destroy the sheep. Okay, so that's another thing that's here. We can't get in by any other way. And then these verses talking about those who may try to come in and hurt the sheep too. You're a thief and a robber. All right, you can't. You got to understand, the shepherd's going to be standing at the door of the sheep. He's going to be standing there. He's going to be protecting us. Praise God. All of these things true in these instances of these verses. Say you can't get in by any other way. And for those of you who try to destroy the church, please understand the shepherd's going to be standing there. You can't get in that door unless you go through the shepherd, and you ain't going through the shepherd. All right, he's protecting his sheep. When he putteth forth his own sheep, he goeth before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. Let me tell you something. Sheep are going to be protected. The sheep are going to know the voice of the shepherd. You will know when you hear from the Lord. You will know. There's no other way in except through Jesus Christ. And if you're trying to destroy the sheep, just understand this. At that door is the shepherd. And there's no other way in except to go through the shepherd. There's no other way in to be saved except to go through the shepherd. And there's no other way to attack the church without having to go through the shepherd. The shepherd is going to protect the church. The gates of hell shall not prevail against the church. Things are going to go wrong, but it's going to be because of human decision. Things are going to be bad because of human decision. Things are going to be tough because of human decisions. But Jesus will help. Why? He's the shepherd. Call on the shepherd. And when we hear his voice, and we'll recognize his voice, and we'll be okay and protected. Can't get in by any other way than Jesus. Okay, you can't get into heaven except any other way to Jesus. And if you're trying to hurt the church, understand, you're going to have to go through Jesus. Love you guys. Bye-bye.